Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another episode of the House of Moody Vintage. I'm feeling way better, much better, as you can probably tell in the the pep in my voice. You know what I mean? Feeling like a little cheerleader, captain of the cheer squad. No, welcome back. Yes, ready for this episode. This is going to be a little tighter and shorter episode, but plenty to talk about, lots to talk about. This is basically, you could see this episode sort of dedicated to Asians, dedicated to, of course, Bling Empire, New York. Okay, I will be talking about that extensively when it comes to certain characters. But there's also an important topic that is on the show that I wanted to discuss as well before we dive into the first season of the show. For those who don't know, of course, Bling Empire, New York is sort of like a spin-off, or like the New York, iteration of the show. The original, of course, takes place in California. These are rich ass folk in Los Angeles. It's the LA life, and there is a character or two. One of the main cast members actually makes a cameo in the first the original Bling Empire season 1, and she basically moves to New York from Beverly Hills. She's a Beverly Hills girl, I love it. And we're gonna get into that. We'll get into that in a bit. So this is basically the New York version of it, and I enjoyed it. I always talk shit and be like, yo, reality TV show ain't my thing. And I kind of have to also give a disclaimer. You sort of have to give a disclaimer when it comes to these particular reality shows. Yes, it's a reality show, but there's a lot of, editing going on, post-production stuff, and, producers doing certain things just for the purpose of drama, just to instigate and shit like that. So there's a lot of things you wonder when you watch these things, and you think to yourself, these people are watching this, right? Once it's recorded, it's done, because this particular series, the New York version of it, it's already taken place. They shot this last year, okay? Of course, the Chinese New Year has just passed. Happy Chinese New Year, even though it was like last weekend or whatever. But so this takes place last year, the beginning of Chinese New Year last year. So once you see it, if you haven't seen it already, you know what I'm talking about. But anyways, yeah. So there is one important topic that I wanted to dive right into before we talk about the show itself. There's a character in the show. I believe his name is Richard. Yeah, Richard. So he's 37. I'm 37. I mean, I think he's 38 now because this was last year. Now Richard, he has the stereotypical, responsibilities of an Asian child, of an Asian kid, and he's Chinese, Taiwanese to be more specific. And it's very much the old school tradition of, you're getting older now. I want you to settle down. And usually what happens in these types of families, Asian families, for those listening, if you're brown, you know what I'm talking about. Or not, you don't have to be brown. You can be South Asian or just Asian in general, from the Middle East all the way to the islands of Japan. Japan. Oh, no. Yeah, I think Japan's pretty, maybe not as hardcore Orthodox, traditional like other Asian countries, but you know what I'm talking about. The usual, like, hey, you would want your son or daughter to marry, within the same culture, religion even, plays into it. But there comes to a certain point, and there's a very sort of very important scene in the latter episodes of the show is when, he's confronted, not necessarily confronted, I shouldn't say confronted, but he's talking to his mother, Richard is talking to his mother, and, he has a very lovely, significant other. Her name's Vika. Beautiful, beautiful young lady, and very, very sharp, very welcoming type of individual. Not as dramatic as the other cast members on this reality show, but she's a wonderful, wonderful young lady. But everyone's got their own issues and shit, so she's not perfect. But he's talking to his mother and his mom, and they really have his mom is trying to get him to get married. He's 37 years old. He has a wonderful significant other, and everyone's saying, how lucky you are to have this girl in your life. And and she's said multiple times, don't fuck this up, don't fuck this up, keep her around. You know what I mean? Like, this is a keeper, And Vika necessarily isn't. She doesn't want to rush into it, which I totally understand. And of course, this can go on to a broader discussion because this is something that isn't just black and white. There's a lot of things going on with our generation, my generation. Because Stephen and I are very, same age, obviously. So, there's similarities, characteristics. And it's not just him, it's also her. Folks of our age were not following the traditions of our parents, the generation before. I feel like they were the last. Generation X was probably the last before they, went into, I'm a Xennial. Technically, I'm a Xennial. So Xennials and Millennials and so on, we're not rushing into those things. We don't feel like this will fulfill us or there's some kind of accomplishment of settling down early, having kids. While that's not everybody, I do have a lot of friends who, had kids at a very young age or had a family at a very young age, got married earlier or whatever, gone through divorces and things like that. The normal, usual stuff that we observe and experience. But for us, a lot of us, we're not married. We are still very much single, or we're just in a relationship. We're not rushing to go to the altar or having a family. And some of us have decided not to have kids. I have plenty of close friends of mine who just, they're not, excited or motivated, whatever it is, right? And they've also made the decision to not have kids, period, And a lot of, again, this could go into a broader discussion. There's so many different aspects to this and factors to this. As much as, from my personal perspective, is like, as much as I want to get married and settle down and have children, have a family, I'm okay with that not happening. Like, if it doesn't happen for me, you know what I mean? Like, I'm totally fine being alone and being single and just being on my own, And like, again, everyone yearns for companionship. I get to understand that, and it'll happen eventually one way or another, I think, but I wouldn't be bummed out. I think a lot of us in our age group feel the same way, and that's how we approach things. And a lot of us have gone through a lot of trauma, and maybe that's not, we're not into relationships. We're sort of focused on ourselves, focused on our careers. We look at the past mistakes of our parents. Expending so much money on raising a fucking kid is expensive nowadays, dude. It's crazy. And that's totally understandable. I can see why people opt out of that. Totally understand that. And many of us are doing that, especially, us Xennials and Millennials, of course. But more importantly, back to the conversation with Richard and his mother, she got to the point where just, I think any other Asian, I think, again, when I say any other Asian or other Asian families, other Asian parents, I'm making a general statement, right? Not everyone is like this, but in most cases, yes, of course. And she's one of those mothers, reminded me of my mother and my father. Not because Richard's mother is going through cancer. She's going through chemo. I'm not sure where she is now. Again, this takes place last year. It took place in 2022. So hopefully she's doing well in chemo and responding well to that. So she has cancer, right? And of course, my mother passed away from cancer as well. Not as well, sorry. My mother also had cancer. She passed away. Hopefully Richard's mother is still alive. So, and she just got to a point, they're having a conversation about, future marriage and all this stuff. And all she said was like, son, I know, in the past, or other traditions in our culture, I want you to marry someone who is Chinese and, all this stuff. But she loves Vika, and she said Vika's a wonderful girl, wonderful human being. And, like I said, she tells Richard so many times, don't fuck this up. But at the end of the day, I just want you to be happy. I don't care who she is, just as long as this person is a good human being. She's good to you. You guys have a good thing going, and you guys love each other and are happy. You move, you go forward with it. That's all she wants. And my mother and father gave up on me a long time ago. you know, like late 20s, I think it was. I mean, they were just like, you know, I heard so many times where my parents would say, you know, listen, I don't care where she's from, bro. Like, she ain't even got to be Muslim. Just fucking get married, all right? Get something. You know what I mean? Again, something I touched on last week, right? Parents they just want the best for us. You know, they just really want the best for us. And at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter who you're with or whatever. They just want you to be happy and healthy and know that you're being taken care of, because, you know, they're not going to stick around. You know, your parents are not going to stick around. So of course you want to cherish the moments you have with them while doing your own thing, right? While you're living your own life, of course. But it's more about being grateful and showing that you're appreciative of having these individuals in your life. For those who are, of course, who are fortunate to have your parents in your life, or, you know, or any other family members who have such a huge impact in your life. It's more about that, more about being grateful and counting your blessings, of course, while living your own life. So, because at the end of the day, they just want you to be happy. That's all. So that conversation really hit home, and I think a lot of people can relate to that, you know, regardless of what generation we come from. I think at the end of the day, that's what it is. They want you to be financially stable. They want you to be happy. They want you to be with a partner that actually, you know, genuinely is a good human being, takes care of you and all that stuff. Ultimately, right? Everyone has their own standards and things like that. And you know, I say that because there are certain characters in the show that have their own priorities. Some are a little out of whack, but, you know, these are rich folk, so, you know, they're not like us, you know, working middle class folks. We're different. These class situations are, you know, different experiences, obviously. But yeah, everyone has their own priorities. Everyone has their own agendas. But I just thought it was very important to sort of reflect on that, you know. At the end of the day, like my parents, they gave up on me. They're like, just get married. And they still do. My father still does, you know, and because, you know, he's you know, he's getting by, he's getting old, and he wants grandchildren, you know what I say. He wants them grandchildren. He wants some of them grandchildren. But yeah, you know, talking about children, let's talk about children, shall we? We're gonna get into it. Let's get into it right away. It is Bling Empire, New York. We're talking about children, the very rich children, and where their life is going. When you watch, if you're not from the States, okay, you will understand the cultural differences between the West Coast and the East Coast, okay? Dorothy Wang, who is one of the main cast members, she's the Beverly Hills girl I was talking about. She's from Beverly Hills. She made a couple of cameos. She was in a couple episodes of Bling Empire, and now she's one of the main members of Bling Empire New York. So the New York version, you can tell where the culture clash is, right? You know, the New Yorkers taking shots at people from LA and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, that's cute. Okay, that's cute. But let me tell you something, okay? Just because we're not like that in Los Angeles, it don't mean that you're better than us, okay? Puta. But you can immediately tell. And I just found that so fucking funny, so entertaining. And so let's start with Dorothy. Okay, let's start with Dorothy. Now, she comes from a family that has a net worth of $4 billion. I say that. Just note that down, okay? There's a reason for that why I say that. Not only do they actually tell you on the show, literally just pops up $4 billion net worth. Fuck, you know. She's from a stupid rich family. But so Dorothy is... Let me run this down. Okay, I got a whole list. These characters. All right. Dorothy is that Beverly Hills chick in New York. You know, she is that just stereotypical West Coast Beverly Hills kind of thing. But also, she's not the most welcoming character. Okay? When I say character, I mean, you know, she doesn't have the most welcoming personality. She's very blunt. Okay? Not tactful in certain things. She's a little too honest, if you know what I mean. We all appreciate honesty. But when it comes to social environments, right? It's okay not to like somebody and not want to hang out with them, but it's like decorum. It's like read the room kind of thing, you know. There's this event, and she immediately clashes with one of the older couples. I think their name is Stephen Hung and Deborah Hung, and these two, you know, listen. I'm convinced these two, Stephen Hung and Deborah Hung, they're cartel. Okay, Stephen's a cartel boss, and Deborah is the cartel boss's wife. All right, he's this older Chinese guy, stupid rich. Their apparently their net worth is like $2 billion or something like that. And again, there's a reason why I mentioned that. But dude, it's like cartel, and I mean, this guy likes to splash money here and there. He's flamboyant, but very reserved. Let me tell you, aesthetically flamboyant, but very reserved. This motherfucker is cold. Okay, same with her, Deborah. Right? There's just, in a very stereotypical snooty, nose up kind of deal. They're like I guess the older. There's another individual on the show who is, well, she's quite well known. My God, why am I forgetting her name? My God, why am I forgetting her name? Lin Ban. So Lin is very famous, I guess in the influencer world, but she's much older. I guess compared to the other younger cast members, she's much older. She's more seasoned, I guess, if that's okay to say. I don't know. I don't want to be an ageist. I'm pretty old myself. But she's much older, so that's what I'm saying. Anyways, so these two, Stephen and Deborah Hung, okay? Cartel. Fucking cartel, okay? I don't want to fuck with them, okay? Very cold, and they're very much, again, that stereotypical fucking... It's just too much for me. It's too much. And Dorothy came up, to the event not as like bling bling as the others, because she really highlighted this very important fact, which is New York fashion is like real fashion. You know what I mean? You go to Cali, LA Fashion Week is, I mean, it's not New York, it's not Paris, it's not London, and it's not Milan, right? So, but it's very much so. But Dorothy is fucking West Coast. Like, she is West Coast. But of course, these people have lived a very privileged life. Well, most of them, not all of them, of course. So, they come from a certain environment, certain sheltered environment, very similar to, I will talk about her in a bit. Her name is Nam. Okay, she's the Thai girl. She's the Thai princess of a, daddy's a billionaire. Don't worry about it. Daddy will pay for it. She literally says this. As she goes shopping with Vika, she splashes 10 G's, okay, on daddy's credit card. Don't worry about it. Daddy will fucking pay for it. And then she gets a rude awakening. Dad finds out, $10,000. Her brother calls her, and he's like, what the fuck did you do? What are you doing? Dad is pissed. And she's like, what? I was just going shopping. That's not how she talks. I'm exaggerating, of course. She's like, I just went shopping. That's it's like, whatever. I don't worry about it. So she's in New York. She's at Columbia University. She's about to graduate, and all this stuff. So that kind of triggers it, because daddy was like, oh my God, I'm cutting you off. And I was like, daddy, why? Daddy was not happy. Daddy straight up, told her, made it very clear, after you graduate from university, I'm fucking cutting you off. You make your own money. And I'm like, fuck yes. More rich ass parents need to be like this, because homeboy wasn't spoon fed with a fucking silver spoon up her ass. You know what I mean? Homeboy's like, yo, I fucking work hard for this money. You gonna fucking earn your own shit. You know what I mean? I mean, yes, there are other, heirs and heiresses to a fucking, family fortune, but they actually work, they're actually sort of hands-on to the family business or whatever it is. But, when it comes to certain individuals, yeah, I think this is the type of treatment you're sort of looking for. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, come on. So Nam is, very young, very sheltered. You immediately get that vibe from her. There's another a wonderful girl, Tina Lung. I think she's a huge fashion, I guess, blogger, influencer, coming out of New York. I think she's like 40 years old or something like that. But she's been in the game for some time, and she has a lot of issues and trauma to deal with herself, and she's trying to find herself, trying to work on herself. But I think she's wonderful. But the problem with her is because she is trauma. Probably not the best person to. I would hang out with her, but I would not date her. You get what I'm saying? But she seems like a fun person to hang out with. She's a genuinely she wants to be cool, like cool with y'all, like not like try hard cool, but like generally a cool person. People actually admire her kind of way, kind of thing. But Tina, this girl don't drink water. What? You don't drink. She does not drink water. She has a terrible diet. She eats junk food all the time. I don't know how the fuck a person does that. That's fucking scary. And also, why? Do you want to die? Like, young? Like, stop. You know what I mean? I worry for you, okay? So, Tina, please, I hope she's getting into a better... Make better lifestyle choices, okay, Tina? Then we have Blake. Blake, I really like Blake. I really like Blake. Blake Abbey is it Abbey? Blake Abbey. He's half Scottish. His father's Scottish. He passed away last year. So big ups to Blake's father. He's in heaven right now. Looking down. That is not a Scottish accent. Apologize. But Blake is half Scottish, half Chinese. But you know what? I like him. I like the kid. He's a likable kid. Like, he's a cool kid. I think he's quite, even though he's a lot to figure out because he's still young, but he's accomplished so much. But yeah, I think he's one of the more likable characters on the show. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like him. Next to Vika. But Vika's very quiet. She's not really into the whole drama thing. I like the less dramatic people in the fucking show. And then, of course, Lynn. Lynn is married to Jet? No. Who is she's married to? Who's her husband? Was it Jet? Was it Jet Kane? Jet, was it you? Oh my God, hold on. This dude, listen. Jet Kane, okay, yeah, Jet Kane's the husband. I had to really just double check on that. So, Jet Kane, this guy, much like Stephen Hung, the cartel boss with the wife who's from North Mexico, go figure, hello, Jalisco cartel. My God, apparently her father was like an advocate or something, or like a lawyer, and they were like in a very not so good environment because he was like fighting the bad guys. Yeah, right, like whatever. More like he was representing the. I'm just making this shit up. I don't know. Mira, I don't know. But I just find it like ironic. Like, she's from northern Mexico, and she married a cartel boss. I'm just kidding. I don't know if he's from the cartel, but like, where'd you make that money? Where? Also, like $2 billion. Like, why are you showing like you're like $2 billion net worth, but like you're trying to like show like you're better than everybody when Dorothy, the Beverly Hills chick, her family's worth $4 billion. And guess what? She didn't throw it in your fucking face, okay? She's not like acting like she's better than you, even though she's a little difficult to hang out with and difficult to like deal with. She's not the nicest person, but like she's not like an asshole about it, like put it in your face. They all have issues. They all have fucking problems. So Jet, this guy is quite similar. He's very flamboyant himself. Not so reserved like Steven. This guy is in your face, okay? Very annoying, just in your face. And I don't know, they both seem in the closet, like they're still stuck in the closet, Not that there's anything wrong with being gay, because clearly Blake is not gay. I think he's fluid or something. I believe that's the correct, right? Fluid, I don't know. Please don't hang me or cancel me. I apologize. Uh, yeah, he's like not a specific gender. I think he's into everybody. Okay, I don't know. He's into everybody. He's cool. He's a cool guy. Okay, cool kid. All right. I apologize for that. But these two are like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can just tell, like, okay, you're flamboyant. You could be channeling Prince, but Prince was like you could tell he was, you know what I'm saying? Even though he was very, very in touch with his feminine side, but he was very much a fucking man, you know, and the women fucking loved it. But these dudes, nah, man, that's on the opposite, I don't know, different level, okay? Jet is one of them. He's fucking annoying. I'm sorry. And, you know, he's got issues. 27 years married to Lynn, and they've got a lot of fucking issues. They got to figure that shit out. It just doesn't feel right. I think it's one of those, like, okay, very traditional. Family doesn't love it. Family's a little traditional, you know, still in the closet. It's a taboo, not okay to be gay, or, you know, not comfortable with that homosexuality, and it's not okay in the family. Like, you know, those kind of old school way of thinking, and maybe they're just trying to save it because they are older, right? These two gentlemen are older, so they could come from that era. But I mean, you can tell, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's flamboyant, and then there's just like flamboyant, you know what I mean? Like, and the way that, but like I said, that's okay. I'm just saying, like, you know, like, you doing something this way, so you might, you know what I mean? Like, you ain't gotta hide it, you know, while y'all married. Don't make no sense. I'm just saying, you can live your truth. God damn it, live your truth. Anyways, that's besides the point. He's annoying. Okay, he can be a little too much, and his wife knows that too. And for 27 years, Jesus Christ, you would know that, right? And she makes it very well known to him, like, dude, you need to calm down. You're a little too much sometimes, bro. And he was getting on Blake's fucking last nerve, which I totally get that. I totally understand that. Who's next? Who is next? I'm like taking shots at these rich ass motherfucking Asians. It's all good. It's all good. It's a funny, entertaining fucking reality show of rich ass white people in New York. In New York, there's only one West Coast in there, person in there who is Dorothy, and I mean, she basically wants to discover and explore more about life. So she went out of her comfort zone of Beverly Hills and went to fucking New York in this stupidly beautiful, expensive loft of hers in New York, corner real estate. Anyway, you got to see it. It's gorgeous. Anyways, and of course, this is Bling Empire, New York. You know who made a fucking cameo? Mr. Kane. Kane is in there. Fucking pissed me off. Kane and Ibrahim Sharmuta. Both of you. Instigators. I hate it. He's in it. And of course, there is he talks to the Mexican chick, the Mexican wife, northern Mexican wife of the cartel boss, Deborah. And, he's talking shit. He's talking shit about Dorothy and Deborah. Like, my guy, when do you fucking stop? Kane does not fucking stop. Fucking coast to coast, bro. Like, there's an episode with him in Miami because Deborah was like, I'm going to invite everybody, and because I am the queen of Miami, okay? You fucking Mexican, shut up. Ain't no queen of Miami, you know what I'm like? If a Cubana chick was saying that, okay, I believe it. I believe that if she was the queen of Miami, but like, Deborah, what you talking about? Like, shut up. And, she invited some folks and invited Kane. Kane, I don't know what he's doing there. Of course, he's like the new face of Fenty, Rihanna's thing. I want to be one of the new faces. He's in there and he's starting shit as usual. Like, even though he had a legit issue with Dorothy, I totally understand that. Again, Dorothy's not, she's a little blunt. She's not the softest, kindest, sort of welcoming or even diplomatic individual in the cast. So I get why Kane would be upset. But Kane's a little, he's a little fucking instigator, a little douche. He's an asshole. He's got issues. He's got a lot of insecurities. Okay, but he's in there. He's in there, and he's always starting shit. Fortunately, he's only there for like I think a couple episodes or makes an appearance a couple times. But apart from that, we do see prominent Asian, designers and people in the fashion industry. Prabal Gurung. Prabal Gurung is in there. Prabal Gurung is in there. Sorry. Philip Lim. Who else? There was the creative director of Laura Kim. Laura Kim, creative director of Oscar de la Renta, is in there. So I mean, which is so cool. Just seeing them and being representing themselves on screen. And because those designers obviously have been in the game for quite a long time. They're very established. People in the fashion world know who Philip Lim is. It's like, duh, hello. Michael Kors, of course, is in it as well. He makes an appearance in there. That's not surprising. I think Michael Kors was in the first Bling Empire. But a few other well-known folks in that circle, the elite circle of New York. But that pretty much does it for the first season of New York version of it. I can go on and on. I had a blast, covering my face and just embarrassed. Fortunately, there's a couple of things you can relate to, just like the thing I started talking about in this episode. But yeah, that's I don't even know what I shouldn't even. I'm not gonna call it a recommendation of the week because it's terrible. It's not a recommendation. It's just a fucking review of the show. I just wanted to talk about it. It's not as fun as Dubai Bling, in my opinion, and I have an affinity for the original Bling Empire cast because I'm gonna be biased. California, Los Angeles, but this was fun. Definitely fun. I enjoyed it. I love talking about it. I love talking about New York folk, New York rich ass folk. But quickly, this episode, of course, is coming out a little later than usual. I know I usually do it Tuesdays or Wednesdays, but I need to wait for this a little longer, but appreciate it. I tried to make it as short as possible. Scheduling and timing things, just a whole conversation later. Anyways, but a quick review of episode 2 of Last of Us. It is getting better. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to reserve my sort of my judgment until I watched the other episodes following the premiere episode, which I think was fantastic. But episode 2 again, I think it's sort of I don't want to say it's growing on me. That's not the right word to say, but I'm really sort of now understanding what the critics have been talking about, because the critics, of course, again, they've seen the entire season because it's a game. The story's already out. There's no real spoilers. But for the rest of us, the average viewer, I'm not the average viewer. I watch too much content and I know too much of this industry stuff. But The Last of Us episode 2, again, just executed wonderfully. I there's no complaints. I heard that episode 3 is about to pop off. Like it's like a real shit happening. It's going to be even better kind of deal, kind of thing. But it's in HBO we trust, so I have every faith that they're going to pull this off. All the performances as usual, and directing, and you have the source material, you can't go wrong. So episode 2 was fantastic. I enjoyed it. I love watching it. They did such a wonderful job with this, and it's something that video gamers and just people who are just familiar with that world have been sort of craving for after such a long time, and just looking forward to even more next week. This episode, I think, has probably dropped before episode 3 airs. I hope. You might get 2 episodes next week. If this does drop, when I say next week, I'm obviously recording this earlier. You might get 2 episodes within a span of a week, is what I'm saying. Less than a week. We'll see. But yes, this episode is a little later. Apologies for that. Just like scheduling conflict kind of thing. Anyways, that pretty much wraps it up for episode 47. We're going strong, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 47 of the House of Moody Vintage podcast. Thank you for listening on Spotify and Apple Podcast and watching on YouTube. Thank you so much. Until next week, and I hope if I don't catch you guys, maybe before the weekend, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Or if you've had it already, hope you had a wonderful weekend. I'll see you all next time. And until next time, please, again, as usual, take care of yourselves, treat yourselves, and be kind to others. All right, let's be positive. Let's be optimistic. Let's fucking do this. Okay, I'm out of here for now. All right, peace.